What's crack-a-lackin'? Welcome in to My Mind is a Weapon Fantasy Football Show.
Welcome into episode 26, everybody. I am your host, SleezBall. We are so close to the NFL season. It is crazy. Today's episode is going to be my top 5 steals at ADP. So I'm going to use Fantasy Pros ADP tracker, and then I'm going to tell you where I would draft them and a strategy to build them around at the same time in your draft to help you win your championships this season. And before we dive into it, guys, make sure you smash that like and subscribe. All the supporters appreciate it. It's been amazing since I've started this journey. I can't thank you guys enough, and let's dive into it. The first absolute steal of your fantasy football drafts coming up in the next 10 days to 15 days here is going to be Caleb Williams, the rookie phenom out of USC. So currently going off the board at ADP 101. Doesn't have an overall QB finish, obviously, because he hasn't played in the NFL yet. These are his college stats: 3,633 passing yards, 30 passing TDs, 5 picks, so 30-5 int ratio. That's nice to see. Rush yards 142, but look at the touchdowns rushing, 11 rushing touchdowns, and you've seen his rushing upside already in the preseason a little bit. He won't be like a Jaden Daniels runner, but he'll be out there running. Now, I want to break this down differently than my other posts when I'm talking about the steal here. So currently going off the board at 101, right? So statistically right now, his ADP value on the board is about quarterback 13, okay? So if I go back last year and look at quarterback 13, we're looking at points per game here, right? I'm looking at Justin Fields and Anthony Richardson. Well, Anthony Richardson didn't even play, so we'll say Jared Goff, right? About 17.8 points per game. With his landing spot in Chicago, getting DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, they bring in free agency. They draft Rome Odunze. They bring in DeAndre Swift. Their offensive line ranks 11th PFF, and their defense ranks in the top 10 PFF. That's going to get them the ball back, more opportunities, especially when it's colder in the season. Now, you don't think going off the board at QB 13 that he's going to average 18 points a game with all these weapons? You're absolutely crazy. Now, the one thing that I have that's the scary part for me with the Bears is they bring in Shane Waldron as the offensive coordinator, right? So there's a lot of talk of Shane Waldron. It really helped Jonnu Smith. No, he didn't, okay? It was Dave Canales that helped Jonnu Smith. So if I go back and look at Jonnu Smith's 2022, right? He had 4,282 passing yards, 30 TDs. Then Shane Waldron is there as the offensive coordinator, and Seattle really struggles. They went from a playoff team to a non-playoff team, and Jonnu Smith had 3,624 yards and 20 TDs. Big dip right there in offensive production if you're looking at it that way. So that is the one thing that scares me with him. But his upside is absolutely bonkers. If you've watched the preseason game, this man is a magician in the pocket, spinning out, hitting throws on the run. The connection with Rome Odunze is already growing strong, and the rookies, the future is very, very bright. And I am willing to take Caleb Williams at about, I'd say around pick 70 is where I'm looking at right now. So if I see like a Dak Prescott here, who I firmly believe that Dak Prescott has proven and done more, I don't think the CeeDee Lamb holdout, I think CeeDee Lamb's going to get signed, but I still don't think Dak is going to put up better numbers because the rushing upside that Caleb Williams has as well is going to put him over the top. So he is ranked very, very low to me and an absolute 100% steal in fantasy football drafts this season. Sticking along the rookie trend here, the second player that is going to be an absolute steal in your fantasy football drafts this season is the rookie out of LSU, Jaden Daniels. So currently going off the board right behind Caleb Williams at ADP 107. These are his college stats, obviously, just like Caleb Williams. No overall finish in the NFL. He's a rookie. 3,812 passing yards. Look at these numbers right here, though. 40 TDs, 4 interceptions. Yes, he did have Brian Thomas and Malik Neighbors and played at a great team at LSU. But you also face great defenses at LSU as well. So these numbers are astronomically good. And if you look at his preseason games already, he is at an 80% pass accuracy right now. This man is point precision quarterback throwing. Now, rushing yards, 1,134. What? Get ready for a 1,000-yard rushing season in the pros. You already saw him carry in a touchdown in his first drive in this NFL preseason game. He also had 10 touchdowns at LSU. Now, the plus side here of why I am enamored with the Commanders' offense this year. Now, I know their offensive line ranks 27th in PFF. It's very bad. But how do they get around that? They bring in Cliff Kingsbury as the offensive coordinator. Now, the last time Cliff Kingsbury was in the NFL was 2019 to 2022 with the Arizona Cardinals. Who was his quarterback? Kyler Murray. Who is Kyler Murray? Just like Jaden Daniels. Almost every single metric except height, right? So 2019 with a top 5 paced offense throughout his entire coaching career with Cliff Kingsbury. Kyler Murray is QB7 in 2019. Kyler Murray is QB2 in 2020. Kyler Murray in 2021 is a top 10 QB again, and he misses 3 games, would have been a top 5, top 7 QB. So we go to 2022. We look at this as well. And this is where Kyler Murray has his ACL injury. So we don't really need to look at 2022. My bad on that part. Now, if you're looking at the quarterback board right now, just like I did with Caleb Williams, right? So Jaden Daniels currently right now is going off the board around quarterback. So if Caleb Williams was 13, Tua even goes before him. He's going off around 14, right? So again, this is another 17 to 18 point range average per game. And this man, they just lost Jahan Dotson, so we don't know what happened there with the trade. But Jahan Dotson honestly wasn't having a good camp anyways. Diami Brown looked better. You have Terry McLaurin, who's about to go to the moon. They bring in Ben Sinnott, who I'm enamored with as well, but it's going to be a Zach Ertz problem there. I don't know how it's going to play out. Zach Ertz is older. He could get hurt. Ben Sinnott could take the role and just run away with it. Honestly, I think Ben Sinnott's going to win the role either way. Now, out the backfield last season, Brian Robinson, who I'm going to get to next in this video because I love Brian Robinson as well. You're going to have Austin Eckler, who they bring in. And people forget, like, Austin Eckler was a top 10 running back for almost his entire career. I know he was hurt last year. Yes, he's 28, but he's one of the best pass-catching backs. And what happens with a bad offensive line? They look for more dump-offs. So, I mean, Jaden Daniels has so many weapons around him, and there's possible trade rumors swirling right now that Brandon Ayuk may be going to the Commanders with the picks that they got from Jahan Dotson. So they use a second pick and the third pick and the third pick. And if they pick up Ayuk, Jesus Christ, Jaden Daniels is going to be a top 5 QB as a rookie, man. I love this pick, and you should be smashing it, especially in round 10 of 12-man drafts. It's absolutely bonkers to me. Third steal of the draft, and this is one pick that I keep selecting 24/7 every time it's there, is Brian Robinson Jr. Sticking with the Commanders as well, right behind Jaden Daniels, right? Like I said, I'm enamored with this offense. I cannot wait to see it. So, Brian Robinson Jr. currently off the board, 96 ADP right now. He finished last season as RB22. All right, so if I look right now at ADP 96 for Brian Robinson, where is that him being drafted at running back right now? That is running back 31 off the board. Finished last season RB22 off of being shot before the season, came back early, still missed 3 games because of injury, and he's RB22. Now, if I look at his average, right, so I go Brian Robinson, 10.8 points per game average. That's standard. My bad. Let me go PPR here. Pulling it all together at once. So, Brian Robinson Jr., right? 14.5 points per game, or 13.2 points per game last season, right? I looked at Bijan Robinson instead of Brian Robinson. So now 13.2 points per game puts him at RB21. So if I add the 2 games that he misses, so let's put the 13 points in there, add it up, let's say 26 points. He's a top 18 running back right now going off the board at RB31. So this one is one of my favorite smash picks. So last season, he finished with 178 attempts, 733 yards, 5 TDs. This is off being shot again. Remember that. Now, like I said, they bring in Cliff Kingsbury. This offense is going to be fast-paced, moving, 100% faster than it's ever been. And you have the electric quarterback, Jaden Daniels, to make it happen. And the interesting thing to me is I just talked about Austin Eckler and, with Jaden Daniels before in this clip. So if you look at the preseason snaps that have happened already right now, and they're out there for limited time, I know this, right? But right now, it is at a 82%, 18% with the starters. So Brian Robinson Jr. is playing 82% of the snaps, and Austin Eckler is playing 18. Do I think that's going to carry into the season? Maybe not. Obviously it's 65-35. I would probably predict myself. This guy's going to be getting the red zone, and the passing work from camp update is that he has light years ahead of where he was last year in the passing game. So if their defense is this bad, which it's projected to be really bad, their offensive line is really bad, they're going to be having to play catch-up full-speed football, and the production rate for a younger running back, to me, when you have Austin Eckler, who's 29, is going to be a lot more. And Brian Robinson is being so undervalued in drafts that it's absolutely crazy to me. The absolute steal at the draft in wide receiver for me is Courtland Sutton, and it doesn't make any sense to me why this man is being drafted currently off the board at ADP 119. So, finished last season as wide receiver 35, 59 receptions, 772 yards, and 10 touchdowns, right? Okay, so now let's do it like a Brian Robinson thing here. Let's go look at where wide receiver 35 is coming off the board this season, right? Right now, wide receiver 35 is Calvin Ridley, Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy, according to Fantasy Pros, right? So if I go down to Courtland Sutton here, he's going off the board as wide receiver 46. So finished wide receiver 35, going off the board wide receiver 46. They have a rookie quarterback in Bo Nix that they brought in. They lose Jerry Jeudy. So now you have Jerry Jeudy, who had 87 targets last year and missed a game hurt. So might have had around 90, around that area. Now that's gone. So there's vacated targets right there that's going to go to your big boy who just got paid in Courtland Sutton. They have Tim Patrick, who is always hurt. Marvin Mims, who comes as year 2. Hopefully a little breakout from him. I'd like to see it. And they bring in Troy Franklin, who is at Oregon with Bo Nix. So I like the little chemistry play they did there in the draft. Now, why do I love Courtland Sutton so much this season? Because the Broncos are going to be playing 90% of their games from behind. And what happens when you play from behind? Volume is king. They are going to be probably behind in 90% of their games. Their schedule is absolutely brutal, guys. Vegas has them at 5 wins, and I would take the under. So let's just look at their starting schedule here. They go at the 12th man week 1. Rookie quarterback in the atmosphere in Seattle, probably going to get rocked. Steelers week 2, rocked. Buccaneers at Tampa week 3. I don't know, could be possible. Good game there. Then they get the Jets, the Raiders, the Chargers, the Saints, the Panthers, the Ravens, the Chiefs, the Falcons. I mean, this could be really, really rough. This could be a 2-win team by week 12, right? But your volume is going to be through the roof playing from behind, and Courtland Sutton's going to see probably 130 to 140 targets with maybe 100 receptions. I'm not going to say the 10 touchdowns again. I don't know how much the Broncos will really be in the red zone unless it's garbage time kind of thing. I'm not really too high on this offense, but there's a lot here to like. So these are metrics that I like of his that I don't understand how he's so low at everything else, right? So here is his catchable target rate that he expands. So with his wingspan and everything, is at 82%, which is number 5 in the NFL. Total TDs last year was 10. That's number 5 in the NFL for wide receivers, right? Red zone targets, and they're not in the red zone that much, guys. Think about this for a second. He had 18 red zone targets, which was number 12 in the NFL, and they're not even really there. So now you have Jerry Jeudy also gone. This guy's going to see everything. Now, at all his targets last season, he only had 6 drops. That was number 6 in the NFL. He has a QB dominator rating, which is man-to-man, at number 9 in the NFL, and he's number 13 at beating zone in the NFL. All these are there, and it just feels like he's being so undervalued in drafts. I don't understand it. If you've seen the preseason already, Bo Nix has a little connection with him already. They paid this man. He's the veteran leader. He's going to get the most volume on the team, and you're getting him at a value that is insane. So if I'm looking at the wide receivers around him, right? So I'm looking at the board here, and I go Courtland Sutton here, right? And I'm looking at a Jordan Addison who's playing behind Jefferson. I know Jordan Addison popped off last year. You have Keon Coleman, Romo Dunze in a split 3. Hollywood Brown, who has an injury, he's in a split 3. DeAndre Hopkins coming off injury, he's old. I do like D-Hop more. All these guys ahead of him should not be drafted above Courtland Sutton purely based on volume. And it's just mind-blowing. Please smash this pick in round 10 and 11. It is gold. Last but not least, the 5th steal of your fantasy football drafts this season is going to be none other than the big Pat Freiermuth. Currently going off the board at ADP 124. So these numbers right here you're looking at, tight end 29, 32 receptions, 308 yards, 2 touchdowns. Just take that and throw it out the window. Because the Steelers lost their quarterback last year, and he was injured for 5 weeks in the middle of the season and just never got it back on track. The Steelers were absolute shambles last year. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bounce back here to 2022, which was his second season, coming off being a rookie the season before, and he's gotten better every single year. Every single metric from his rookie year to his second year got better. Now, 2022, he's tight end 7, guys. Missing 2 games. And he was still tight end 7, averaging 10 points per game in PPR. Now, you're heading into 2024. Who do they bring in? The God-forbidden Arthur Smith. But the positive to bringing in Arthur Smith as the offensive coordinator for the Pittsburgh Steelers is right here. The 2023 Falcons last year, right? He loves his tight ends. But there was 2 of them in Atlanta. So let's get this out of the way first. There's not 2 tight ends like there was in Atlanta, like there is in Pittsburgh. Washington is not the guy you're going to see out there like Jonnu Smith, okay? So last season, who was the 2nd and 3rd leading receivers on the Falcons? Oh, that'd be Kyle Pitts with 53 receptions and Jonnu Smith with 50 receptions, okay? So he utilizes the tight end completely. They combined for 1,200 yards together and 6 touchdowns together, and Jonnu Smith even had carries out the backfield last year. So Pat Freiermuth is now in a situation where you have Deontay Johnson headed to Carolina. He used to average 150 targets a year. But like I said, you can throw all the Steelers stats out from last year out the window because it's all garbage. All new slate, whole new slate, everything. So now you have a vacated targets of 150 on average from Deontay Johnson. He only had 87 last year because, like I said, throw it out the window. Now, they bring in Van Jefferson as their wide receiver 2. They draft Roman Wilson, and Calvin Austin is the other receiver. Do you really think any of those guys are going to be the second option over Pat Freiermuth? Because you know George Pickens is going to be the one, right? He's going to be the guy that sees the most volume on this team, and it looks like Brandon Ayuk is not coming to Pittsburgh at all anymore, especially with the Jahan Dotson trade that just happened with the Commanders. They have all the leverage. They have more power. They have more picks. They have everything. Unless the Steelers really wanted to up their trade to something crazy. So now you're going to have him seeing at an average, he was averaging 90 targets per game through his first 2, or 98 and 80, right? So about a 90 target average for his first 2 seasons. So season 3, like I said, throw out the window, 47 targets. Now you have 150 vacated from Deontay Johnson. Not very good third string, anybody to step in, or Van Jefferson, Roman Wilson. This man this is like just like the Courtland Sutton thing to me, man. Volume is king. And Arthur Smith loves to use his tight ends. Pat Freiermuth is going to absolutely smash this season, and he's being drafted right now as tight end 16 behind a Cole Kmet, who has a massive target share problem around him with DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, Romo Dunze. He's drafted behind Dalton Schultz, who has Stephon Diggs, who has Tank Dell, who has Nico Collins, another target share nightmare, behind Dallas Goedert, who has A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and now they add Jahan Dotson. And behind T.J. Hawkinson, who may be on the pup for God knows how long, or we don't know what the injury is going to happen to the Vikings even play him if they're good or not. This pick is one of the best insane value picks at tight end you can get this season, and it's like people don't even see it in front of them. I do not understand it. Please, please, please smash this pick all day, every day in the 12th round. 100%. That is it for episode 26, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed my top 5 steals of the draft that you should be moving up your board to get. I put a lot of research into this, and these are my volume guys that you need to be drafting higher on your board that are going to help you win a championship. And I'm sorry about being sick, man. My voice has been terrible. I was sick over the weekend, so I'm finally coming back around. But before we head out, guys, make sure you smash that like and subscribe. And any comments related to fantasy football, it doesn't have to follow this video. It could be trades, what to draft here. Any questions you have, period, smash them in the comments. I am here to help you win this season, and I love to answer everything I get to as fast as I can. And I will catch you guys in the next one, man. SleezBall out.